Hey there. So this is kind of an unusual game that I just discovered via my queue on Steam. So I wanted to take a look at this, and I have not seen anything like this before. So I don't know. I'm kind of messing with the controls right now. Let's see here. Tensori. Okay. Oh, the developers. Oh, okay. Very cool. Huh, they thank Rogue One. Okay. Man, the audio on this is crazy. It reminds me of the sort of stuff you do when you're making horror films and you're using, I think it's water pipes. It's like a water-filled sort of instrument. And my mind is kind of going, it's not, I don't know what it would be considered as. I really don't. Let's see here. What else is there? So there's this screen here. It has a number 1 on it. And then, oh, okay. Okay, so there's some sound here. Audio, looks like only mouse input. Okay, full screen. Yeah. Oh, VHS film grain. Okay. Interesting. Okay, support. And nothing there. Huh. So, let me see. What is this? That's... Okay, do I hit... Yeah, the sound design on this is... If you get a chance when you're listening to this, listen to this with headphones on. Oh, what the hell? Oh, hell, this has like a backrooms feel to it. Oh, my God, this is like liminal spaces. Okay, can I walk forward with my thing? No, okay. So I don't think I have. I'm trying everything here. Let me try replugging this back in. Okay, so it does do controller support. I have a real weird thing that happens with one of my USB ports. Depending on the application, it just won't work. Sometimes it goes out with other games and then works the second time. So, all right, so I can look around. Ooh, wow. Am I dragging my foot or something? Oh, what the hell? Okay. So that's... Okay, so there's movement and then there's zooming in. Oh, God. What the hell? You know, I like urban things, mainly when they're, you know, used up or something, and or you can see decay or usage, vintage things. This is the exception of that sign right there. Void of human touch, except for this very bizarre architecture. Oh, this would trip me out if this was VR. Okay, yeah, there's a little bit of don't slip and fall. Oh, hell no. No. What the hell is this? Okay. Oh, God. Whoa, I don't like that at all. Even walking across this. Oh. First of all, I don't swim. And I know... Oh my god, the sound design in this. The absolute sound design in that. Okay. Oh, I don't like that at all. You know, you grow up in Missouri for a few years, or well, not grew up, as I got here when I was 16. You learn quickly not to go swimming in things, or messing around in creeks or anything else like that. But big bodies of dark water, nah. Goes the same down in Louisiana. What the hell is that? So, from what I understand, the little bit that I saw on the store page of this, it's a game of exploration, but oh, fuck that. Listen to that audio. Okay. I mean, oh my god, this has all sorts of psychological craziness going on here. Wow. Okay. Oh, no, 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 no. No, sir. You can light that up a little bit more. Nope, not a fan. Not a fan. Thank God there's some safety rails. What the hell is this? God, they really nail this feeling. Lighting in this, that is so crazy. You know, I want to know what this is. It kind of looks like a person sitting in between. Well, you know, I don't know. Looks really out of place. Weird, like kind of a worn down old school symbol or something. You know what? I know why this is giving me kind of weird stuff, because when I was younger and I still did urban exploration, like going in buildings and stuff, which I don't do anymore. Yeah, this had the feeling. There's an old school that I went to one time, and that old schools are terrifying. I saw recently there was a guy somewhere on, I think it was on Instagram. He posted that his father had bought a high school and they moved in. And I mean, that's kind of cool. I mean, especially if you can do some more things with it, or you're an artist or something like that. I would forever be looking behind me and expecting to see something back there. The voids of silence and noise. Oh my God. You know what? This would truthfully be hell for me. That is absolutely... If hell were to exist, this is what that seems like. And you can kind of, when your eyes adjust, you can kind of see beyond that. A little bit of tearing on the screen there. Well, this is the demo. Oh wait, this could be the effect from the granulature. It looks like my eyes are almost kind of getting a little bit better with that. I want to walk away from that water as close as possible. Far, far removed. All right, what's back in here? You know, and like, oh no, I bet that's water. No, it's not. This is gorgeously liminal space, man. This is just a freaking trip. Like weird shapes. You don't even know why. There was I remember whenever Hallmark was shutting down some of its floors, they would leave them partially lit, and you could walk through areas and see, like, even that. Actually, I think I'm allowed to talk about that. There was a place I worked. Well, I'll say this. Yeah, okay, I can say this because I think anyone that knows the history of this place knows this. Uh, when I worked at the museum, there were times whenever you could go into certain areas, and occasionally we'd have people like electricians or other things like that come through the place. The most unnerving thing is discovering something you weren't sure of, and I can readily assess that I have seen probably 99% of the entirety of what that museum was, just as just part of my job. And God, you almost want to be able to look outside, but they're just lights. Even the way they darken as you get closer, and then when you walk away, it lightens up a bit more. It's kind of emulating what your eyes go through. The really weird part was thinking about how when I was there, I would see areas that I maybe hadn't been able to get to before, and some of the other security guards, knew where they were. But whoa, no, is that water down there? Jeez, no, I can't do that. I can't. Oh man, look at that. And there's an actual area. Is that? Yeah, that's not a fan of that. Not a fan of that. Okay. Plenty of being able to go down to the water. I think right now my bravery is going to extend to simply not going to the water. Oh my god. I saw that shape back through there. It's the kind of stuff that would give you a heart attack if you're walking around by yourself. Now, the little bit that I did... I don't plan on running anywhere. I'm taking a lot of chances here because I'm fully aware my brain knows this is just a game. But when I was still working at the museum, there were places like, oh, geez. See, this is even more terrifying because you feel like you're just out in the open. What the hell? It's crazy because, like, yeah, I think it is like that. And there's other places I've worked like that too. When I did security in other places, the bigger the place it is, the more minuscule, the more microscopic you feel. Wow, this is a trip. Like, I have so many questions, like, who built this? What is all this? What's beyond that? The hell's down there? Oh, no, see, this is gonna be my other fear. No. Oh, I can feel it. I can feel that weirdness. But whenever, to finish the story I was telling earlier, sometimes, oh, fuck that plank. No. maybe later. Maybe I'll add this to my next. I'll add a second playthrough and go, okay, now I'm really going in those places. I just kind of wanted to take a look around, but God, you can practically feel that weird bathroom tile texture everywhere. When you go, like, and you're in the men's room of, like, a... God, that is crazy. Well, that one doesn't look too bad. All right, first shadowy one to go in. Okay, and it lightens up a little bit. Sorry. Okay, so that's where that one goes. Interesting. Yeah, that was the one I was just in, right there. Huh. I don't know if you guys are experiencing this, mainly because I'm just talking, but there's the whole there's that whole experience of feeling like, almost relief. Yeah, see, that starts to lighten up just a little bit. Oh my god, so it's just dim enough. But when I was working there at the museum, I'm sorry, I keep getting away from that story. It was a very weird thing to sometimes come across, like a little open door or a room you hadn't seen before. Even though we had specific places we were, told to go and do. Nope. Oh, hell no. I think the other horror show stuff for me on this is just, never mind the fact that in real life you'd be terrified to try and, walk through somewhere and then be scared of somebody or something suddenly showing up. And just how the mind, this is a really interesting study in what the mind's eye sees, right? We're drawn like moths to a flame, the lighted areas. The texture is at the exact same time alienating and it's a distributor of unease because it's almost mocking the sensibility of what that is to, bathroom tiles aren't necessarily always clean. Wow. And even these weird, those almost look like the glass ones that are in bathrooms. This is surreal. I mean, you know what? There's, the camera angle is also disorienting in a good way. For some reason, it reminds me a little bit of THX 1138. You want to know who put that in, like where that comes from. All right, I'm gonna go back through here. That's where I was earlier. You know what? I'm not gonna get into the dark water. That I'm not a fan of. And I also want to know what's going on here. Like, what happened? Why is there a chair sitting there on the ground? The other thing that would happen sometimes too is that there were areas that we didn't necessarily have to check, and there was one particular set of tunnels that I disliked immensely because they would go into a Y path off of each other, and you had no recourse but to go down the main one, knowing that you left another pathway completely unexplored. And it wasn't that it was necessarily off limits, but you had a certain amount of time to do your rounds and do things in. And, it was always one of those things. And in your mind, what really fascinated me now, especially looking back at it, is the psychology behind so much of it, where it was, what it was about. Now this is really weird because I'm trying to remember where I was, and I know I didn't come in there. No, I did. So that's my eyes readjusting to this. So I did come in through here. But it was always very weird for me to do some of the things. One of the guys I worked with, that dude had worked there so long, he would walk around in the museum by himself in the dark. Did not bug him. And, it's an old building. You hear things settling and creaking and, occasionally weird things. But, yeah, it was this. I almost said, oh, there was no chair there. But now I kind of wonder why there was a chair staring at that. Ugh. Even looking at that is just weird. I cannot get over the sound design. It even sounds like my work boots whenever I would work or walk around anything like this. That is downright oppressive, that sound. And that's the dark one I don't want to go into, so I'm going to go back down here. I can't help it. There's like that raising, the hair on the back of your neck feeling like there's just something right around the corner, or you're going to expect to hear some sort of noise. One of the other things, too, that was, whenever, all the times I've ever done security, I have seen and heard some weird things in my life. Places I've worked and stuff like that. Not necessarily supernatural or anything, but very odd things. And sometimes when I remember the feeling of getting off work. Sometimes you hang around, you talk for a little while. A lot of us used to walk in pairs at the minimum to our cars because we weren't allowed to park at the actual entertainment district. That was for customers only. So we would see, now this is refreshing because there's not that urine stain sort of tile color which seems to emanate in here. It seems to get depressingly yellower and more 1970s as you go on. The grout seems more less white, less light gray perhaps. See how this has a nice cleansed look to it. All right, so but I would see some strange things when I was walking around. like very odd things. I remember there was a fellow, I don't remember his name, but we were both off work. We were just sitting there talking from one of the buildings. We were both halfway. For some reason, we stopped just to talk. And I don't remember. This is really a weird thing. We were talking about the Rendlesham Air Force Base incident, which is if in UFO circles, it's a very widely known circumstance where a lot of very trustworthy, very, very accurate reports came from a good number of military people that were stationed there about an unidentified object. And if you get the chance, take a look at it and look into it. It's an incredible story, and one of the few that sometimes when you're into ufology or MUFON or anything like that, which I have an interest, more than a passing interest in, just because I like unknown things and stuff. I am not necessarily a subscriber to the idea of little green men or anything else like that. But that's a discussion for another time. But one of the things was that when we were out there talking about this, so I'm sorry, I was digressing. When we were out there talking in the street, there was a guy that walked by, and he had it looked like a long hunting or a chef's knife, probably about 8 to 10 inches, something like that. And he's walking, he had no shirt on, and I remember his jeans were torn, and he was walking rapidly down the street, banging the knife on the back end of it, just against random things, lamp poles, street signs, and he was just mumbling to himself. And I remember thinking, like, we both looked at him and we saw it, and we're like, well, that was very odd. And then I remember, well, that's new. I didn't see that. Wow. See, that goes to show, like, when you're not really paying attention what's going on there. Wow, that's weird. Okay, I'm going to back up from there. You feel like a tentacle's going to come through. Very odd. But we left it alone. We went on, and we kept looking over our backs that entire time. I don't know who he was. We never saw him again. And then when I finally got to my vehicle, the good thing was he was closer than I was. He was parked about a block closer than me. I said, well, I got this, man. It's not a big deal. But I was parked way far out. He dropped me off. I got to my vehicle. And I was very relieved to be dropped off. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and jump in this water now while I'm talking about this. That noise. Okay, that's not too bad. Well, that scared the shit out of me. There's thunder outside. Oh, between the ambience of the game and then the thunder outside, that's crazy. This is really rad. This is a really cool game, but good lord. So this is the demo. This isn't the full version of the game, so I think I may end up picking this one up at some point in time. It's interesting. I'm sorry. Let me finish my story. So even when I left, I remember getting in my car and feeling this, comfort, or my truck, and I remember looking directly in my back seat and everything. I always have, the interior lights come on and everything else like that, because a few months earlier we had a lot of waitresses that would leave there and walk back to their vehicles. I don't care who you are. A lot of us guys even were like, no, screw that. We're going to go in groups. And this one wouldn't wait for an escort or anything. And I think she was just more nervous about having some unknown guy that she worked with walk with her or something. I don't know what the deal was. But she was very, very put off by the idea of needing anyone. She's like, no, I'm a country girl. I know what I'm doing, that sort of thing. Oh, yeah, this was the Nopesville place. Nope. So I'll end with this story. So basically what happened was she ended up going out to her car, and she had parked on the streets, and this was about halfway as far as where me and the other guard had to have walked whenever we saw the guy with a knife. Well, she got to her car, and thank goodness she had one of those key fobs, that unlocks the doors and turns it on. And earlier that night, there was a guy that had been harassing her and just giving her some problems. And I didn't have any part in this, but some of the security guards asked him to leave and escorted him out. And then he ended up going to another bar and getting thrown out of the district. And I don't even remember how we found that. Oh, one of the external guys came and said, "Did we know this guy?" And he had taken a picture of the guy. And we said, yeah, we threw him out. And he said, okay, we're going to keep him out of the district for the night. If he comes back, just, let us know. And he didn't come back. Well, here's what's so messed up. So she got out to her car, and she turns on the light. And as she's starting to head toward the car, the hair on the back of her neck stood up as she realized that there was someone that sat up bolt upright in the back seat of her car. And we found out all of this after she ran back to the bar. And this is by her own admission that she ran at a dead sprint all the way back to the bar. And we called the police, and they went and checked, and the guy was gone, but he had evidently busted out. She was parked on the street, so he had busted out she had an older car that had a smaller window in the back. He busted that out, and from what they could tell, he must have cut himself or something like that. This is all information we found out from her a week later, and he had gotten in there, and there was proof that he had basically jimmied the handle open and gotten in there and was laying in the car. It was absolutely crazy. And that's the kind of shit that, like, it's bad enough working in places where, you feel like, you can be around thousands of people or hundreds of people in certain circumstances and, still feel like, oh, yeah, I got to watch my back. I got to be careful or whatever. But then there's this whole thing of, like, you walk somewhere by yourself, and that dichotomy of that moment, right? Like, I'm here in my studio, and I'm feeling really nice and warm and safe, and it's starting to thunder and rain outside, and I'm okay. I can look around. I can disconnect from this. But I am fascinated by this game. Like, I want to know what the purpose was behind it. It certainly has that liminal space, backrooms feel to it. And I keep expecting something to come out or like just show up. I think what would be even more terrifying was if there was no music, no build up to it, and you suddenly saw something appear. That would be game over for me right there. I'd be like, nah, screw this. This is it. All right. Well, I think I've walked around now for about 30 minutes, and I don't know if I'll. I don't know. I'm just trying to suck up some nerve. Like, I want to know what's outside of the light, or if these are just lights or what. I do. This is weird that this is doing some weird clipping here, but I imagine that might be fixed in the final version. It is also odd how my eyes are. How the graphics in this, showcase in my eyes are having to adjust and things like that, which is really wild to me. So, yeah, I guess, yeah. So anyway, a little bit of storytelling for you guys and stuff. And someday I hope to really finish this book that I've been working on off and on about what I went through as a security guard. Because there's so many stories and weird things that happened. So many. And, I remember telling a buddy of mine one time I'd done security with a long time, and boy, me and him had been through some shit over the years, working at one bar in particular, not Power and Light. And he said when he, after he left, he remembered going and getting a job, and when people would talk about that, he would, he kind of declined ever wanting to go to, bars or anything with any of his coworkers, because it does change you. And he said, and I remember he came back and he came over to my house for a little while, and we commiserated over, how when you work security or when you're a cop or you're in the military, anything that, and I'm not trying to compare being a security guard to a cop or armed service duty, not at all. But any sort of discipline or job you have that ends up with very odd interactions or circumstances changes who you are. And there's a point where you can have those conversations and try and relate to other people, but if they've never been there, there's almost, and I think there's a validity that comes with being a cop or being military where people go, wow, that's crazy. But when you're a security guard and you talk about things like, I will tell you one last thing right now, the weirdest thing that ever happened to me was surreal. There was a guy who was on acid, and this was one Halloween, and the Halloween events were and if he wasn't on acid, he was on some sort of hallucinogenic or something that made him really wild. But he came out to, this was during Halloween, so of course everyone's dressed up and stuff like that. And he jumped some other guy, and I remember wrestling him down to the ground with the assistance of another security guard, and we had to wait for KCMO PD to help out on this because he was so damn strong and so freaked out. But the surreal part about it was he had rather convincing zombie makeup on. And, you know, I don't watch The Walking Dead. I do like the Resident Evil games, things like that. But that was a very scary and very weird thing where normally the guy might have just been yelling curse words or something. To see somebody halfway salivating and screaming and you know, you're in that moment was pretty freaking surreal. Yeah, it was different. But anyway, back to this. Yeah, I love the design. I love what this is. It is definitely one of those things where I think putting on, still got this playing on my sound system right now and the microphone with low pickup on it. I think walking around with this, if this was VR, this would be freaking weird, but probably pretty damn rad. But I also think that it's kind of crazy, because what I'm fascinated by is the absence of things and then the sudden presence of things. Iconography, symbology, the presence of somebody somewhere being something. Because even this damn chair here at the back, weird. Just very, very weird. Anyway, I guess that's it for now. I'm going to go ahead and let that's the other thing too, is that I get so dizzy and I need to take that motion sickness stuff for this sort of thing, because I get motion sickness really easy. I can't play first person shooters or anything else like that anymore. So, well, thanks for watching, guys. So this has been Pool, the demo, and at least now I've got this uploaded, and I may play a second episode of this demo just to kind of check out some of these other areas I didn't go into, just because I'm a weenie and it's also dark. Maybe during the day I'll be a bit more brave. I don't know. It's so weird. I'm always fascinated by that because I can't swim, so I'm terrified of water. And even just the mental facility to get into it. I can tell myself it's a game, but if it's something like, 8 or 16-bit or something like that, or even Tomb Raider, right? Tomb Raider was even a little creepy. But anything like that reminds me of having been in a pool, or, the lack of control is just freaky to me. So this is going to be enjoyable in a weird way if I come back to it. I know that. All right, guys. Yeah. So, again, that was Pool the Demo, and I am Mario the Artisan Rogue, and I will catch you in the next playthrough of this game, I've got a bunch of different uploads that are coming up, and 2 games that are in process right now. So if I play through the second part of this demo, it might be a little while, but yeah, this is probably a game I'm going to pick up just because it's oddly interesting to me. I like it, and I like places like this as much as they unnerve me, and I think that's a good thing. All right, we'll catch you guys in the next playthrough. See you then, and thanks for watching.